Section 1. The peso's plight, a symptom of deeper concerns. Mexico's economy is facing headwinds. The peso, Mexico's currency, has been on a downward trend. This decline reflects growing concerns about the nation's economic trajectory. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, often referred to as AMLO, has implemented policies that have unsettled investors. These policies, while aimed at social reform, have raised questions about their potential impact on long-term economic stability. The recent depreciation of the peso is a clear signal that investors are apprehensive. AMLO's presidency has been marked by a move away from traditional economic policies. He has prioritized social welfare programs and increased government spending. While these initiatives address important social needs, they have also sparked debate about their sustainability and potential to create economic imbalances. The depreciation of the peso suggests that market confidence in Mexico's economic future may be waning. The peso's decline is not merely a statistic, it has tangible consequences. Imports become more expensive, potentially fueling inflation. Businesses reliant on imported goods face rising costs, which can squeeze profits and hinder investment. For ordinary Mexicans, the falling peso can erode purchasing power, making everyday goods and services less affordable. The economic uncertainty is palpable. Mexico, a nation with a complex economic history, now stands at a crossroads. The government's efforts to address social inequality are commendable. However, the recent economic indicators, particularly the peso's depreciation, suggest a need for careful recalibration. Striking a balance between social reform and economic stability will be crucial for Mexico's future prosperity. Section 2. AMLO's judiciary remarks, adding fuel to the fire. President AMLO's recent comments on judicial reforms have further agitated the markets. His statements, perceived by some as undermining judicial independence, have amplified concerns about the rule of law in Mexico. Investors value a predictable and stable legal framework. Uncertainty surrounding the judiciary can deter investment and harm economic growth. AMLO's proposed reforms aim to address corruption within the judiciary. However, critics argue that these reforms could give the executive branch excessive influence over the courts. This perceived threat to the balance of power has rattled investors. A judiciary susceptible to political interference can undermine contract enforcement and property rights, essential pillars of a healthy investment climate. The timing of AMLO's comments on judicial reforms coincided with the peso's depreciation, further fueling investor anxiety. Markets, already on edge due to economic concerns, interpreted the president's statements as a signal of potential instability. When investors lose confidence in a country's commitment to the rule of law, they tend to withdraw capital, putting further downward pressure on the currency. The Mexican government now faces the challenge of reassuring investors. Clear and decisive actions to demonstrate a commitment to judicial independence will be crucial. Failure to address these concerns could lead to a further decline in the peso, higher borrowing costs, and an erosion of investor confidence, with potentially long-lasting consequences for the Mexican economy. Section 3. Expert opinions, a symphony of concern. Economic experts have expressed growing concern over the trajectory of Mexico's economy under President AMLO's leadership. The peso's depreciation, coupled with the president's recent remarks on judicial reforms, has amplified these concerns. Analysts highlight the need for policy adjustments to restore investor confidence and prevent further economic damage. Renowned economist Carmen Reinhart has cautioned that Mexico's economic policies are eroding investor confidence. She stresses the importance of a predictable and stable legal framework to attract foreign investment. Other experts echo these sentiments, emphasizing that AMLO's rhetoric and policies are creating an environment of uncertainty, deterring much-needed investment. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has also expressed reservations about Mexico's economic outlook. In its latest assessment, the IMF lowered Mexico's growth forecast, citing concerns about policy uncertainty and the impact of the weakening peso. The IMF's analysis underscores the seriousness of the situation and the need for decisive action to address the underlying economic vulnerabilities. The consensus among experts is clear. Mexico's economic situation requires careful attention. Ignoring the warning signs could lead to a downward spiral, characterized by a weaker peso, higher inflation, and slower economic growth. The government's response to these concerns will be critical in determining the country's economic future. Section 4. The Investor's Dilemma, Navigating Uncertainty in Mexico. The recent economic turbulence in Mexico has presented investors with a difficult dilemma. On the one hand, Mexico offers attractive investment opportunities. Its proximity to the United States, its young and growing workforce, and its integration into global supply chains make it an appealing destination for foreign capital. On the other hand, political and economic uncertainty has cast a shadow over these opportunities. Investors are grappling with the implications of AMLO's policies. While some view his focus on social justice as commendable, others worry about the potential for economic mismanagement. The lack of clarity regarding the direction of economic policy is causing many investors to adopt a wait-and-see approach. This hesitancy is reflected in the outflow of capital from the Mexican stock market and the depreciation of the peso. The Mexican government faces the challenge of restoring investor confidence. Clear communication regarding economic policy, a commitment to fiscal prudence, and respect for the rule of law are essential to allay investor fears. Attracting foreign investment is crucial for Mexico to achieve sustainable economic growth and create job opportunities. For investors, navigating the current environment in Mexico requires careful consideration. Thorough due diligence, a long-term perspective, and a willingness to weather potential volatility are essential for those considering investing in the Mexican economy. Section 5. The Common Citizen, Bracing for Impact. The economic tremors shaking Mexico are felt most acutely by ordinary citizens. The depreciation of the peso has led to an increase in the cost of imported goods, eroding purchasing power. Inflation, while currently moderate, threatens to accelerate, further squeezing household budgets. For many Mexicans, the economic anxieties are compounded by concerns about security and corruption. The rising cost of living is a pressing concern. Basic necessities, such as food and fuel, have become more expensive, putting a strain on family finances. The government's social welfare programs provide some relief, but for many, these programs are insufficient to offset the rising cost of living. The economic uncertainty is casting a shadow over daily life. Small businesses, the backbone of the Mexican economy, are also feeling the pinch. The weaker peso has made imported inputs more expensive, squeezing profit margins. Reduced consumer spending, a consequence of the economic slowdown, is further impacting businesses. The government's efforts to support small businesses are crucial, but more needs to be done to ensure their survival. The economic challenges facing Mexico are complex and multifaceted. Addressing these challenges requires a comprehensive approach that focuses on restoring investor confidence, controlling inflation, and protecting the most vulnerable segments of society. The government's response will determine the well-being of millions of Mexicans and the country's long-term economic prospects.